Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We're here to break down the big, sometimes complicated relationship between a couple of heavy hitters in quality management, Total Quality Management, or TQM, and ISO 9000, and more importantly, how they actually help you succeed in your projects.
So let's just dive right in. You hear this question all the time in the business world. Should we go for TQM or should we get ISO 9000 certified? It's always framed as this big either-or choice. But as we're about to find out, maybe that's not even the right question to be asking. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with where these ideas even came from. Then we'll put TQM and ISO 9000 side by side. After that, we're going to narrow our focus to how quality works in the project world, check out the tools project managers have, and then we'll tie it all together at the end. To really get a handle on TQM and ISO 9000, you've got to go back to the beginning. They were both born from this drive for excellence, but, and this is key, they took completely different paths to get there. And when I say their origins are different, I mean they're from totally different worlds. TQM got its start in Japan, way back in the 1950s. It was this huge philosophical shift, all about helping the entire nation compete on the global stage. ISO 9000, on the other hand, showed up later to solve a very practical, very messy problem. See, there was this chaotic jumble of different quality standards all over the place. ISO 9000 was created to harmonize all of them into one single unified framework. So they come from different places, but how does that actually play out in the real world? Let's break down the fundamental difference. Is it a philosophy versus a framework? Well, in a nutshell, yeah, that's pretty much it. This slide right here really gets to the heart of it. TQM is a broad philosophy. It's a company-wide mindset of always getting better. ISO 9000 is a specific, concrete standard that you implement to hit clear goals, like making your operations smoother and meeting customer requirements. Here's a great way to think about it. TQM is like committing to a healthy lifestyle, eating right, exercising, the whole deal. ISO 9000 is like the official health checkup that certifies your systems are working exactly as they should be. So the single most important takeaway here is that it's not TQM versus ISO 9000. They are not competitors. They're actually super compatible. In fact, implementing the ISO 9000 standard can be a fantastic, practical step within a larger TQM philosophy. But, and this is a big one, they are not interchangeable. One is a mindset, the other is a system. Okay, so we've got the big organization-wide picture. But let's be real, TQM and ISO 9000 are usually applied to the whole company. So what happens when your focus isn't the whole company, but a single temporary project with a very specific goal and a hard deadline? And that right there is the core challenge. A project lives in its own little world of constraints. You've got a budget, a timeline, unique deliverables. You can't just sprinkle a company-wide philosophy on top and hope for the best. This is where those broad ideas about quality management have to be honed into specialized standards that are built for the project lifecycle. So what's actually in the project manager's quality toolkit? Well, ISO didn't forget about projects. They developed specific guidelines for managing quality in that context. Let's meet the two main ones. First, you've got ISO 10006. The key word here is in. It gives you guidelines for quality management in projects. Think of it as a spin-off of the bigger ISO 9001, but tailored specifically for the project environment. It's your rulebook for weaving quality directly into your project's processes. Then there's ISO 21500. And for this one, the keyword is on. This standard gives high-level guidance on project management as a whole. It's less about the nitty-gritty quality processes and more about the overall framework for running projects well. It actually aligns pretty closely with other big standards you might know, like the PMBOK guide. Now, if you're a project manager, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's compare ISO 10006 with the PMBOK guide. The first thing you'll notice is the focus. PMBOK is broad. It's about all stakeholders. But ISO 10006 is laser-focused on the customer. That's a huge difference. And what's really useful is its structure. ISO 10006 is actually set up in a way that makes it great for auditing a project. Trying to do that with a PMBOK guide, it can be, well, pretty cumbersome. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So let's zoom out and put all these pieces together. Let's see how the philosophy, the systems, and the tools all connect to form the complete picture. On a really fundamental level, it boils down to understanding the two distinct, but complementary, jobs of project management and quality management. Project management is all about the deliverables, hitting those deadlines and meeting requirements. It's about getting it done. Quality management is about that relentless drive for continuous improvement and customer satisfaction. It's about getting it right. And in a project, this breaks down into two core activities. First is quality assurance. This is proactive. It's the audit. You're checking your quality requirements and making sure your processes are set up for success. Then there's quality control. This is reactive. This is the action you take when you find a problem. You need both. Assurance is about preventing fires. Control is about putting them out. And that brings us full circle. This quote just nails the ideal state perfectly. It's not about having project management in one box and quality management in another. The ultimate goal is to weave them together, to make that TQM philosophy of continuous improvement a core, inseparable part of how you run projects every single day. So this leaves us with one final thought. Standards are great, they give you a framework, but it's the principles behind the standards that really make a difference. So the question to take with you is this: how can embedding those deep principles of quality, not just checking boxes on a standard, truly transform your next project? Thanks for watching.